Greetings. This is Escape from Trucking. My name's Casey. I've been a truck driver since 2018. And I wanted to talk about being being a new truck driver in 2025. And one of the ways it's going to take for you to be successful is by staying out longer than you might like. I've seen a lot of new truckers in my YouTube feed, folks who've been trucking for 1, 2, 3 years or so, that have been saying that they're dropping out, dropping out, and I can understand why for sure, because I'm struggling with the same lack of work-life balance that they've noticed in the trucking industry. Let me turn this off. There you go. I've been noticing a common trend with a lot of these new truckers who've been quitting, and that is that they're trying very quickly to go into local work. They're trying to get home every day right out the gate, or maybe just a few months out of starting, they try to transition into something local. I think I saw a lot of them are like trying to do intermodal work, or are maybe staying over the road but trying to get home every weekend, or trying to get into a regional. And I want to say that this, with the market dynamics as they are, for new drivers, this is not the time for you to be doing that. These are in the as far as trucking industry goes right now, these are some pretty hard times, and it's even harder to successfully break into the trucking industry right now when these mega carriers have a huge abundance of people banging to get on their door, banging to get in through their doors, and not enough freight to go around for the people that they have right now. That's the situation that the carriers are dealing with. And so we could talk about why that is briefly. There's a lot of broke owner-operators whose businesses didn't work that are going back to the mega carriers. There's a lot of people here who have come across the border over the last 4 years and are desperate for work, and many of them are finding their way into CDL work and are desperate. But one way or the other, right now, there's just very much an oversaturation of truckers available right now, and not enough freight. And I think everyone with a pair of brain cells to rub together can see that that's true. And because of that, this is not really the time for you as a new truck driver to be making demands from your mega carrier. And really the only way you're going to be successful is as a trucker is by getting back to the basics. Man, when I started in 2018, we were expected by most mega carriers, certainly my alma mater, which was CRST, we were expected to stay out from 4 to 6 weeks, and I stayed out towards the long end of that. And I think we're going to be going back to a situation where that is expected of you if you're new and you want to get into this industry and you want to be successful at it. And the way we're going to do that, the way you're going to get into trucking and make decent money and have a good relationship with your dispatcher, which is important, and get it to where your mega carrier sees you as someone who's bringing value, and that's where you want to be, you're going to have to get 2,500 miles a week or more. I mean, I would typically say 3,000, but with the freight being as light as it is, 2,500 miles a week or more should be what you're aiming for. And that is not, if that is not going to be possible if the first priority that you have as a new driver is a work-life balance. And I'll explain why in a minute. You really need to maximize to get the miles that are going to get you, between 50 and 60 a year, or maybe even a little more than 60 a year your first year. You've really got to maximize the hours that you're spending simply cruising down the interstate. And one very important thing that you need to do in order to get there is to stay out for longer periods of time than what you may expect. And I think 4 weeks is a good minimum, is a good starting point. But you probably going to want to be, if you really want to make this work, you're going to want to be out for closer to 6 weeks, or maybe slightly even more, with the way things are right now. And I'll explain why staying out for a long period of time gets you disproportionately more miles, and it sets you up to actually succeed. It sets you up to get all the on-time, the good on-time metrics. It sets you up for success with your dispatcher, which is important. If your dispatcher likes you, he's going to give you more good loads, and then you're going to make more good money, and you're going to get in that virtuous cycle. And it all starts right now, in my opinion. It all starts with staying out for a long time. Let me just explain to you, the new truck driver, why that is and why this is so important. Basically, if you're staying out longer, you don't need to be spending as much time near your home terminal. When you want to go home and when you ask to go home, your dispatcher needs to keep you close to that home terminal to where the truck is parked, so that they can bring you in when the time is right. And so when they're doing that, usually it's within 4 days from when you need to go home, they start pulling you in, and they don't let you go too far out, and they keep you on short loads. Conversely, if you're spending a lot of time away from home, and the dispatcher therefore does not need to worry about getting you near the hub of where the truck is going to be parked, he can send you anywhere he wants. He's not constrained by where he can send you to get you home on time. And so then it becomes more just about distributing you as efficiently as he can. And that means that's going to mean more miles for you, which is again how you're going to succeed in this game right now. Also, being out for longer means you're going to have less bad loads. I'll give you an example. I used to work for Schneider Bulk, and Schneider Bulk had like a geographical window, and as long as you were inside that window, they could get you loaded up pretty much any time. There was always a contracted customer they had close by within that window where they could get you loaded up quickly and get you rolling. That window, by the way, in my case, was Houston, Savannah, Georgia, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, by Pittsburgh, and then Chicago, Illinois. All right? And I found that once I got in that window, I was just go. And they had customers that were familiar with Schneider. Schneider was familiar with. I knew how to get into, get out of. They were expecting me. The freight was contracted, which is important. I'm a big proponent of getting with big contracted freight because it keeps you moving. Everything in that square seemed to work and just work really, really well. It was once I got out of that square, and I parked my truck in Dallas, which is just a little bit outside of that square. I parked my truck in Dallas, and every time I had to bring my truck home, I noticed my last load to Dallas was always fraught with bullshit and problems and long wait times and receivers that weren't really even waiting for me, didn't really care. That's because the load was brokered, because they didn't have any contract. They didn't have much contract freight out of Dallas, so they always had to get me home. They always had to broker me a load, and then I would always find my first load coming out of Dallas back into that matrix. It was always just long wait times. The shipper wasn't really expecting me. I it was just kind of whatever. I remember sitting at the Owens Corning plant in Waco, Texas for 7 hours because they didn't know what the hell to do with me. And they just brought me on the damn plant to move an empty trailer, to move an empty tanker over to get filled up with some weird chemical. And the machine malfunctions, like just everything that can go wrong on a brokered load always seems to. And so what I'm trying to say is that Schneider Bulk wanted me to be out 4 weeks at a time, and I did 4 weeks at a time, but I was finding that it would take 2 days to really get rolling and get in the matrix, and then 2 days to get out of that freight matrix. So really, I had already wasted about 4 days, about half a week's worth of time already completely thrown away, and it was screwing my money up. So I decided to, instead of staying out 4 weeks, I'd stay out 5 weeks so that I could space out that horrible last load and that horrible first load, and spend the more time, maximize my amount of time in that window where I was just always running. And what you need to do as a new truck driver with your mega carrier, you need to get an idea of where that window, matrix, triangle, whatever it is, you need to get an idea of where that is and try to spend as much time as you can in there. For a lot of mega carriers, it's nationwide. You know, a lot of them, they'll just do coast to coast stuff. And that's fine. But the point is that those first loads, where you live tends to not be where the freight is, right? Where you live is just where you live. What you need to do is you need to spend as much, let your dispatcher put you into that freight matrix for as long as they can. And the best way to do that is to stay out for as long as you can. It's really about, in 2025, to be successful as a trucker, it's really about 3 things: efficiency. You've got to be efficient. You've got to, it means managing your clock right, which I'll talk about later. But it also means, it means keeping those wheels turning down the interstate highway for as much as you can. And that means taking your 70-hour clock, that 70-hour clock you have available, of that 70 hours, you need to be spending the maximum amount of that 70 driving, because that's how you're going to make your money. That's where you're going to make your money. And try to keep the on-duty time minimized. And the way you do that is by getting long length of haul. And the best way to get long length of haul is to stay out for as long as you can. So when you stay out for longer than expected, you're setting yourself up for success in so many different facets, in so many different ways. And it's also making your dispatcher's life easier, and it's going to make, he's going to make your life easier too. So, you know, all these people trying to go real quick to intermodal, or go real quick to some regional setup, or try and tell their dispatcher they need to be home every other weekend. It's not gonna work out for you. If you're serious about being a trucker, and trucking profession still does provide a means to make a good living, then you need to forget about work-life balance as a new trucker for the first couple years, and really practice your craft right now, and get those miles and keep rolling as efficiently as you can. Because the truth of the matter is, you're not in a position to be making demands right now. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this was of some service to you. I'd be honored if you could leave some comments in the comment section. I'll try to get to them, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.